presentation, we are going to be discussing homeostasis and the maintenance of life. We are going to be talking about the major requirements of an organism. We're going to be explaining the importance of homeostasis to survival, as well as an example of homeostasis static mechanism in the body. So the 5 requirements of organisms are water, pressure, oxygen, food, and heat. As far as water goes, so about up to 60% of our body contain water, and water is super vital as nearly all of the major body system depend on it. Some of the functions of water include, but not limited to, carrying nutrients and oxygen to the cells, regulating body temperature, lubricating joints, flushing out toxins and waste product from kidneys, just to name a few. Next is food. So we all eat food because it provides the fundamental types of material and energy to keep our body functioning. We need energy to enable growth and repair tissues, to maintain body temperature, to fuel, physical activity. We get energy from the food that we eat, which then gets turned into sources of fuel that, in return, subsequently gets delivered to the different parts of the body that require that source of nutrient. If we don't eat, we feel tired and listless, and it's an equivalent to kind of a car that is trying to run without any gas in it. Next is oxygen. So oxygen is the single most abundant element in the body. You're actively breathing and inhaling and exhaling oxygen since the day you were born. And this diagram kind of briefly show that you are inhaling oxygen, which then gets carried to the blood cells. Within the body, it gets converted to carbon dioxide and then subsequently gets released into the bloodstream and then into the atmosphere. Next is heat. So heat in this case is in reference to the food intake that we get, because the body turns that food into heat through the form of calories. This diagram is kind of an example of how nutrients gets broken down to heat and energy. So when we eat, for example, we eat meat which contains protein, it gets broken down into amino acids that then gets further broken down into ATP, which is a form of energy in the body. Next is pressure. So pressure is a force that gets exerted by a substance that is in contact with another substance. Atmospheric pressure is pressure exerted by the mixture of gases in the Earth's atmosphere. Although you might not perceive it, this pressure is constantly pressing down on your body. So your ability to breathe, to take in oxygen, letting out carbon dioxide also depends on the atmospheric pressure. Think about when you are doing a hike that is up high in the mountain, you often feel very short of breath. This is because when you're up in high altitude, it exert less pressure, and so this kind of reduce your ability to exchange gases and optimize your ability to breathe, causing you to feel short of breath, nausea, confusion, headaches, lethargy, etc. So why is homeostasis so important? Biologically speaking, homeostasis is important because your body is constantly being pushed away from its balance. For example, when you exercise, your muscles increase heat production, causing your body temperature to rise upwards. When you drink a glass of juice or eat something sweet, your blood glucose spikes up. And so homeostasis, is a mechanism that tells your body to try and maintain a constant internal environment within tolerance limits. So an example of homeostasis in this instance is body temperature. So think about, this is an example of a negative feedback loop. So think about when your body temperature rise in this example. Um, it in this case, when your body temperature rises, negative feedback will act to bring it down towards a set point. So high temperature will get detected by the sensors. So sensors are nerve cells, or your skin and brain, for example. And then this relay the temperature to the control center in your brain. So the control center in your brain then activate the effectors, and the effectors in this case could be the sweat glands. And your sweat glands is to oppose the stimulus by bringing the body temperature down, such as making you sweat so that you cool down. So this is an example of homeostasis.